Hello students, welcome back to your social science class. My name is Lily Case and I am your social science tutor. Today we are starting with another lesson, that is chapter 5, District Administration, and this lesson is in page number 34 in your textbook. Chapter 5, District Administration, page number 34. So if you're ready, let's begin. So this lesson is about a conversation between the father and the son. The son name is Lanu and he is in class 4 like you all. And on this particular day, Lanu's father was going to meet someone and Lanu was curious because he heard this word for the first time. So then their conversation goes on and meanwhile Lanu used to learn a lot of new things, all right? So before I begin this lesson, I'm going to first tell you about the different districts in Nagaland, okay? So you can see in the picture here, right? So we have 11 districts, okay? Please remember that we have 11 districts and these districts are again divided into subdivisions, all right? Now again, subdivisions are divided into small parts known as circles, okay? Now whoever take care of these different divisions are DC, okay, District Commissioner, SDO, ADC, and ESC. Anyway, I'm going to let you know about that later on. So let's go back. Okay, so here we have 11 districts, and some of these districts are Kohima, Dimapur, Phek, and Wokha, okay? So apart from our districts, we also have neighboring states. If you don't know what is a neighboring state, let me tell you that if you walk out from your door, you see so many houses, right? So these people living next to your door are your neighbors, okay? So similarly, we also have neighboring states in our near Nagaland. We also have other states which are known as the neighboring states, okay? So we have Assam, we have Arunachal Pradesh, we have Manipur and Myanmar, okay? So these are the neighboring states of Nagaland. So here, the conversation begins when Lanu's father told him that he is going to meet the DC of the village who was coming to inaugurate their community hall, okay? So this DC is a man, okay? And he was going to come to their village for an important work, all right? Now, when the father told him these things, he was very curious. He was wondering, what is DC? What do you mean by district? What do you mean by community hall? Because Lanu is also like you all in class 4 and these are very new to him, okay? So the father told him that DC means district commissioner, okay? So we have one person who looks after the district and we call him as the DC, and the full form of DC is district commissioner, okay? So district, as I've shown you in the Nagaland map, that Nagaland is divided into different parts, right? 11 parts, and these 11 parts are divided so on, okay? Then community hall. Community hall is a building. It could be small, it could be big, okay? So in villages, we have this community hall where the meetings takes place or sometimes some programs takes place, okay? So they have recently completed their community hall and it was going to be used by the villagers, all right? So before they do that, they invited the DC of the village to do the opening, okay? So that was inauguration. So then next, the father told him that the DC not only does that, but he also does a lot of things, okay? Like he take care of the taxes, the revenue, the land records, and maintaining law and order. So these were the different duties that the district commissioner had to perform in a district, okay? So Lanu, when he heard about this thing, his father asked him, okay, do you know what is a government? And do you even know what the government does for our district, for our villages? So now Lanu told his father that, yes, I have heard the word government in class 3, but I don't know how they function. I don't know how they work. So his father was really happy, okay, because Lanu was curious, and even at a very young age, he wanted to learn so many things, right? He was so eager, he was so curious to know new things, right? So his father was very happy, and he decided to explain to him, okay? So first thing is maintaining law and order, then tax and land revenue. So I'm going to explain to you in one after another. All right. The first one, tax. So tax means you give a certain amount of money to the government. Here in Nagaland, people do not pay taxes like in cities, okay? But when you go outside Nagaland, you will see that people pay tax for their car, for their land, for their business, okay? Even for while working in certain companies, they have to pay taxes to their boss, okay? So likewise, the DC, okay, the district commissioner, he looks after the taxes of the district. Then the next one is land revenue. Also, you can say land records, okay? So there are certain part of land that belongs to the government, right? So these are taken care by the district administration, and the head of district administration is DC, right? So he is responsible for looking after the land, okay? Also, in some parts of India, people used to give certain amount of money, or sometimes when they grow crops, okay, they used to give certain amount of crops to the government, all right? So that is land revenue. Then maintaining law and order. So all the police force, okay, all the police force in the villages, in the district, they come under the DC. That means they used to work for the DC, okay? So the DC can also give commands to them. The DC can tell them to do this or give them some appointments, okay, for certain occasions, like for example, election. During the election, we need the help of police, right? So the DC used to give them request or order, and likewise the police used to work for the public, for the villages, all right? So this DC, what happens is he have certain people who works under him, all right? So he have certain officials whom he used to have a meeting together. They discuss among themselves, and they used to plan out, okay, like whether it's about building up certain buildings for the villages, or opening up a school, or maybe the roads, okay? So these things they used to discuss with the other officials in the villages, and then they used to plan accordingly, okay? So apart from that, I've already mentioned to you that the district commissioner, he also takes help of the law and order, he takes the help of the police force and controls the situation during the election, okay? So normally what happens is during the election, there is a huge gathering, right? A lot of people used to come. They used to gather together for the election. So during that time, situations may also go bad, right? So in order to control that, the DC takes helps of the police force, and they maintain the situation, all right? Now, after all this conversation was over, um, Lanu was curious again, okay? So he asked his father, how can the DC alone look after all these things? Because a DC is also a man, right? And one single man cannot look after all the problems, all the needs of the district, right? So Lanu asked his father, how can a single man do all these things? So Lanu's father, then again, he told him that it is not only the DC who used to work, but under him there are some certain officials who help him to do his work, okay? So one is the ADC, one is SDO, and one is EAC, okay? So all these people are appointed by the government, all right? So these people are appointed by the government, and then accordingly they used to take care of certain areas. Now let me take you back to the map of Nagaland that I've explained to you, right? So in the map of Nagaland, I told you that we have 11 districts, right? So under these 11 districts, every district is divided into different parts, okay? So these districts divisions, okay, those are known as subdivisions. Now these subdivisions are taken care by the ADC and the SDO, okay? And then these subdivisions are later again divided into many parts who are taken care by the EAC, okay? Now I'm mentioning these people in short form. Actually, the full form of DC, I've already told you that it's district commissioner, okay? ADC is additional deputy commissioner, SDO is subdivisional officer, and EAC is extra assistant commissioner, okay? So these four people, they used to work together, and they also look after different areas, okay? So these are the example, okay? So we have the DC, all right? Then we have the ESC, we have the SDO, and we have the ADC. So together, they used to work for one district. However, they look after different districts, okay? Different areas, sorry, okay? Now, when Lanu has heard about all these new things, he was very excited. And this time, when he was having a conversation with his father, he came to know that there is a person who is known by the name DC, right? And then we also have different divisions in our own state, like districts. Then we also have a meeting place like a community hall, right? Then he also came to know that DC plays a very important role in our districts, right? And then, though he was studying in a primary school, he learned so many things. And when he was learning that, he began to have more interest, okay? He began to have more interest. So he kept on asking his father, like, what does he do? How do they work? And he also came to know that they used to pay taxes. The villagers pay taxes, okay? Then the DC also takes care of the revenue, the land records, maintaining law and order. And not only the DC, but he also came to know that there are certain officials who work under the DC. So listening to all these new things, he began to grow more interest on becoming a government official one day. So at the end, Landu tells his father that one day even I want to become a government official, to which the father replied that if you want to become a government official, then you have to study hard and you have to achieve your goal like you have mentioned today, okay? So since we have come to the end of the lesson, I want to do some revision work from page number 39 and 40, okay? If you have your book with you, kindly turn to page number 39 and 40. And as we are doing this revision, we are going to revise from the beginning till the end, okay? So number 1 is fill in the blanks, all right? So number 1, the head of the administration. The head of the administration in the district is the DC, okay? Please remember that. Then one of the main duties of the DC is maintaining law and order. So under law and order, we include all the police force, right? Then number 3 is the district is divided into number of subdivisions, okay? Only when the subdivisions are divided, it becomes a circle, or else if we divide a district, it is known as subdivision, okay? So number 4, subdivision is divided into circles. Now coming to match the column. Okay, number 1, the DC is the official agent of the state government in the, number 1 is district, as we have already done in fill in the blanks. So the DC takes entire control over a district. Okay. Number 2, the DC is responsible for the collection of revenues. Okay, about those taxes, about this land. Okay, which I have explained to you. He is responsible for that. Then number 3, the DC can also issue any kinds of licenses. Okay, so he can give an order, or he can also set certain rules which you should follow or which you shouldn't follow. Okay. Then number 4, each circle is under a, I want you to be very clear with that. Okay, remember the DC is taken care by the, the district is taken care by the DC, right? Then the subdivisions are taken care by the SDO and ADC. And then the circles are taken care by the EAC. Okay, remember that. All right. Coming to the next exercise, true or false. The first one, the DC is the head of the state administration. Answer is true, right? It is not the SDO, EAC or the ADC, but it is the DC who is the head of the administration. Okay. Then number 2, maintaining order in the district is an important function of the DC. Again, that is true, right? I've already explained to you that it is the DC who takes care of law and order. Okay. Then number 3, the DC helps in the election work. Yes, it is true again. So whenever there is any election, the DC used to help out, okay, during the election. Number 4, the ADC is the head of the district. Now don't get confused. It is not the ADC, but it's the DC who takes care of the district, right? So the answer is false. And number 5, the EAC is the head of a subdivision, which is also false. Okay, EAC looks after the circle, right? Okay, so we are done with the exercises. I want you all to try writing the answers by yourself. Meanwhile, let me give you a recap. Okay, let me begin from the start what this lesson is all about. All right, so this lesson is about a district administration. Okay, so in every district we have one head. Okay, and he is known by the name DC. All right, so this DC, what he does, he takes care of the villagers, their needs, their problems. Okay, so this boy Lanu, he's also class 4 like you all, and he had a conversation with his father, and while having a conversation he came to know that we also have different divisions in districts known by subdivisions and circles, and then this different subdivisions are taken by different people. Okay, and also the DC looks after the land revenue, the land records, maintaining law and order, and taxes. Okay, then when Lanu learned all these things, he became so interested in becoming government official one day. So he also decided, and he made a word to his father that one day he want to be one of those government officials, to which the father suggested that you need to work really hard in order to be one. Okay, so thank you very much, and see you very soon with a new lesson.